The rookie had been invisible from the moment she arrived, not because she tried to hide, but because everyone else decided she didn't matter. Private Juno Reyes was the youngest on the deployment, fresh out of training, assigned to a forward overwatch position that the veterans treated as a placeholder duty, the kind of assignment you give someone you don't yet trust with anything important. The squad leaders barely acknowledged her during briefings, the radio chatter often skipping over her calls, and even when she spoke, it was usually followed by someone more experienced repeating the same information as if it hadn't come from her at all. Still, she did her job, quietly, precisely, watching the terrain through her scope from a ridge position that overlooked a wide valley where 3 Allied squads were advancing toward a contested supply corridor. What no one fully appreciated was how carefully she observed, not just targets, but patterns, movement breaks, wind shifts, and the subtle inconsistencies that others dismissed in favor of speed and certainty. Below, the operation began to unfold in what initially looked routine: squads moving in coordinated formation, vehicles advancing, radio checks confirming progress, until the first sign of trouble appeared, not an explosion, but a silence where communication should have been. Enemy forces had set a layered ambush deeper in the valley than intelligence had predicted, using terrain masking and timed movement to isolate each squad from the others. Within moments, the situation escalated, suppressive fire cutting off routes, return communication fragmenting, and visibility dropping as dust and smoke rose across multiple choke points. Command tried to reorganize, but the coordination was already slipping, 3 squads now effectively split and pinned in separate kill zones. The rookie on the ridge saw it all happen in real time. She reported immediately, but her transmission was lost in the overlap of competing radio traffic, ignored like most of her earlier inputs. She tried again, sharper this time, identifying exact enemy positions and suggesting firing corrections for support units, but the response she received was delayed acknowledgement, not action. Then the situation worsened. Enemy reinforcements moved in to tighten the encirclement, and one of the squads was forced into open ground with no cover. That was when she stopped waiting to be validated. Adjusting her breathing, she recalibrated her scope, factoring wind drift, elevation drop, and target clustering across multiple distances simultaneously, her hands steady in a way that didn't match her rank or reputation. The first shot cracked through the air, not random, not desperate, but deliberate, eliminating a forward enemy observer who had been coordinating the ambush. Confusion rippled through the opposing force, just enough to break their rhythm. She didn't pause. The second shot followed almost immediately, striking a critical communication relay point that had been guiding enemy fire. Within seconds, the coordination of the ambush began to fracture. Now, attention shifted, but still no one fully grasped what was happening, because from command's perspective, the battlefield was too chaotic to isolate the source. Then came the sequence that changed everything. Controlled, rapid, impossibly precise sniper fire that moved across multiple enemy positions with calculated timing, not wasting rounds, not rushing, each shot deliberately reshaping the battlefield. One squad found breathing room, then another, then the third, as enemy pressure began collapsing faster than it had formed. Within under a minute, the structure of the ambush that had threatened to wipe out 3 squads was dismantled piece by piece, not by a coordinated airstrike or armored push, but by a single overwatch position that had been underestimated from the beginning. Only then did command finally focus on her channel. Confusion turning into urgent requests for confirmation, but by that point, the immediate threat had already shifted from crisis to retreat. When the dust settled, the valley looked different, not because the terrain had changed, but because everyone now understood where control had actually come from. The squads regrouped, shaken but intact, their survival tied directly to a voice they had barely listened to moments before. Later, when reports were compiled, her actions were described in stark, factual terms: multiple confirmed precision eliminations, disruption of enemy command structure, and rapid neutralization of coordinated assault vectors across 3 separate engagement zones. But none of those words fully captured the reality of what had happened. That a rookie everyone overlooked had seen the battlefield more clearly than those who assumed experience alone guaranteed awareness. And when she finally came down from the ridge, no longer just a quiet voice on the radio but the reason 3 squads were still alive, the silence around her wasn't dismissal anymore, it was recalculation, because in that 1 minute, she had rewritten what it meant to be ignored in a place where being unseen was the most dangerous position of all.